Welcome to From Center Ice. My name is Courtney, and oh my goodness, have you caught your breath after that game yet? Because I don't know if I have, so this video is going to be very interesting, but I'm going to try to find a way to talk about it. Oh my goodness, what a finish to game number 3 between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens. The first game in Montreal. The first two were in Toronto. Tonight's game and tomorrow night's game are in Montreal. Yes, they play a back-to-back in the playoffs because the scheduling is weird. The NHL is dumb. Nothing makes sense. The North Division had to start way after everybody else because Vancouver and Calgary still had to play games. NHL. But anyway, that doesn't matter because tonight was game number 3 and it was a thriller. Well, the whole thing wasn't a thriller, but the ending was a thriller and the Maple Leafs won game number 3 in Montreal. They have a 2-1 series lead over the Canadiens. And I need to try to calm down because there is no reason that these games should be this stressful. Toronto looks like the better team out there most of the time. But then you have Carey Price, and he is why Montreal has been in these games so far. If the Canadiens had any other goaltender, if they had started Jake Allen even, I think this series might be 3-0 right now. It's a very good thing that the Leafs have the lead in this series because it seems like Carey Price just keeps getting better with each game, which is incredibly frustrating, but hey, the Leafs also have Jack Campbell down on their end, and he was fantastic tonight as well. We are 3 games into this series, and it is amazing. Oh, I have my gripes with this Leafs team, but the series as a whole has been very fun to watch. Could you imagine if the Leafs had Frederik Andersen in net right now? That's a bad thought process I don't want to have. Why do I do this to myself? It's a happy night. The Maple Leafs won, and I have to go thinking, what if the Leafs had Frederik Andersen in net instead of this fantastic human being, Jack Campbell? But they don't. Campbell is in net. Everything is okay. So, in order to talk about it, let's just go through the 3 questions that I had for this game. Question number 1. Can the Maple Leafs win the first period? Oh, when I recorded my video after the last game, I said that by the Leafs winning the period, that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to come out with the lead. I did say that with the series shifting back to the Bell Center, the Canadiens were probably going to come out with that fire and intensity that we saw in game number 1. But I don't know that either team really knew what time puck drop was, because that first period was a mess. The shots were fairly even. It was 7-6 in favor of the Leafs. There were 4 penalties, 2 for each side, so it was even there as well. Oh, we can talk about the first penalty. So less than 2 minutes into this game, there was a play after the Leafs had some sustained zone pressure. I mean, it was less than 2 minutes into the game. 1 minute and 2 seconds to be exact, looking at the box score here. Anyway, the Leafs were trying to break into the zone, and then you just see a white sweater kind of in the middle of the ice while his teammates are still behind the blue line. And then I saw the number and I was like, why is Alex Galchenyuk just basically hanging out with Carey Price while his teammates are trying to break into the zone? What is he doing? So that was clearly an offside call, so they go to the face-off. And right off of the face-off, this same guy, Alex Galchenyuk, just gets his stick up. And not only did he get his stick up, but he got his stick into the face of Brendan Gallagher, and there was blood. 4-minute penalty. Gotta love those double minors. That was a bad way to kick off the game, but what ensued was a great way to kick off the game, actually, because the Maple Leafs had a fantastic penalty kill in those 4 minutes. Cole Caulfield slotted into this game for the Montreal Canadiens. We expected that in game number 1 because he looked good when he joined the team at the end of the regular season, but for whatever reason, they decided to sit him for 2 games. But other than a few flashes of skill for him, the Leafs penalty killers basically didn't let anything get set up for the Habs. It would have really sucked if the Leafs had to chase this game right from the beginning off of a dumb call. I mean, it was the right call. It was a dumb penalty, I will say. Off of a very dumb offside play that was 3 miles offside. It was a weird way to start the game. I thought it was going to be a bad omen because I was just like, what are you doing? And while I had those thoughts many times throughout this game when it came to the Maple Leafs team, it all ended up okay. So that was the first penalty of the game. The second penalty of the game went to Artturi Lehkonen of the Montreal Canadiens, and that was for delay of game because now it is the Habs' turn to send the puck over the boards. If you recall, in game number 1, the Leafs had 3 of those. So it's nice to just spread the love around a little bit. Let the other team experience that. And the first power play unit looked like trash. The difference between that power play and the other ones we have seen throughout this series, except the 2 that the Leafs scored on, was that they actually did get some shots off. They got the puck to Austin Matthews a couple times. He rifled the shot on net, and Carey Price. And speaking of Carey Price, the second power play unit came on, and that features Jason Spezza. Oh, Jason Spezza on Carey Price's stick side. He got the puck and had a wide open net to shoot at, or so it appeared, so he settled the puck down a bit. I thought he probably should have shot it earlier, but you know, he's the one on the ice, not me, so I will trust his judgment. That's just me being very nice. I rarely go along with their judgment. Anyway, he settled the puck down, and here comes Carey Price's stick, just shooting out from nowhere and absolutely robs Jason Spezza. What a save. And that's probably what you're gonna see on all of the highlight reels tonight, even though the Canadiens lost. Because that's just how it goes sometimes. And apparently, after that save, he was in the Leafs' minds, because at one point, they had a 4-on-2 rush and didn't even get a shot off. Ah, the curse of overpassing hits this team again. What do you know? Not only was that curse very evident on that one play, but through the power plays that they had in this game, there was so much passing. I hope they enjoy getting their passing accuracy up, because they need to work on their shooting accuracy next. I was very angry at this game for a game that my team won. But if Montreal had a star forward, kind of like the firepower Toronto has up front, there is no way, other than Jack Campbell going full Marc-Andre Fleury mode, that the Leafs would have won this game. Because they were incredibly messy, but it didn't come back to bite them, because the Habs were also playing terribly. It was somehow a game of 2 teams playing horribly, and yet it was entertaining? The North Division is so strange. Maybe it's because of the rivalry, maybe it was because of the fast pace, maybe it was the crazy saves, I don't know. But this game was entertaining, and both teams looked like crap. And I guess that, aside from the 2 goaltenders, is how you get a 2-1 final score when both teams have 29 shots on goal. And multiple power plays. And neither team scored on them. So I guess that brings me to the next question that I had for game number 3. Question number 2. Will the power play build off of the positive results in game number 2? Oh, no, they did not. The Maple Leafs power play, aside from those few Austin Matthews shots on goal, was garbage again. And a lot of that is because Mitch Marner is having a bad series, which is funny because he's still putting up points on assists, but his play leaves a lot to be desired, and he's on the first power play unit, so that's what kills the play a lot of the time. It's really frustrating to watch. As this game was going on, I really wanted Sheldon Keefe to put Austin Matthews and William Nylander together, because it seemed like the other 2 players on their respective lines were just dragging them down. Willie had another fantastic game, and I still think he is the best Maple Leafs player in this series. I had a lot of people maybe disagree with me on that in the last video, but after this game, I am way more confident in my assessment. And that's not even a knock on Austin Matthews. He was trying in this game. He wasn't nearly as dominant as he was in game number 2. But like I said, I think Matthews and Nylander's line mates were dragging their games down. So I really wanted to see them paired together, just go full nuclear option. Because the final score was only 2-1. This was a very close game score-wise. It would have been a lot more comfortable for the team and probably for us watching at home if it hadn't have been so close. But we didn't see that. Maybe we do tomorrow. Because again, they play back to back. Oh my goodness. So the power play sucked, and I really think that at this point, a major penalty needs to be assessed to any team that uses the drop pass on the power play entry. It does not work. It doesn't work for any team. Why do they keep doing it? I feel like I'm back in the regular season just screaming about the Blackhawks. Power play unit number 1 sucks. Why do they keep using the drop pass? I thought I would get away from this when I started watching the Leafs games in the playoffs. Because not only are they using the drop pass on the power play entry, but at least tonight, they weren't passing it to anybody when they threw the puck back. Yeah, they had teammates behind them, but they weren't tossing it onto their stick. They were just throwing it to an area, so it killed more time because the following attackers had to go find the puck over on the board somewhere. It just made one very aggravating thing that much more aggravating, having to watch it. And this is why I was getting so heated in a game that the Leafs won. Because yeah, they won, but they made so many dumb decisions. And Jumbo, it's going to be a great story if the Leafs can somehow pull this off and get Joe Thornton his cup. I know that is saying a lot. I'm not saying it will happen. I said if they can make this happen, but he's been bad. It's gotten to the point where I don't like seeing him on the ice because the play just dies. I don't know if he's going through a rough stretch. I don't know if his legs just can't keep up right now, but you'd think the brain would still be there. He's still a smart player. But man, he's been rough. So before I get too off track here, question number 3. Can the Leafs keep the Montreal attackers to the outside? I'd say for the most part, they did a decent job at this. I mean, the one goal that was scored on them was from the face-off circle. They definitely didn't do a good job of this at the end of the game in those final frantic 2 minutes where I don't know if I breathed at all. But it's okay, because they didn't get scored on, although they almost did, but they didn't. So I will give them credit for that. They did keep the shots mostly to the outside. Even so, Jack Campbell had to make some huge saves, just like his opponent down on the other end of the ice, Carey Price. Price had to make the more difficult saves, but maybe Jack Campbell just keeps himself in position better. I will say though, when it comes to shots being on the outside or attackers being right next to the net, when the Leafs have the puck next to the net, why do they so often go for the wraparound move rather than just throwing the puck on net and maybe getting a second chance opportunity, maybe squeaking it past the goaltender? Or you never know what can happen. Hockey is weird, but I've noticed so many times in these past 3 games where one of the Leafs forwards has the puck, usually to Carey Price's blocker side, and instead of just shooting it, they're like, I'm going to attempt to wrap this puck around the net. Except they lose the puck every time they do it. Of course, maybe they don't see any holes on Carey Price, maybe they don't see the opening where they could get the puck through, but go for the rebound chances. Of course, that means you have to have a teammate also in front of the net, which the Leafs have had a big problem doing. That's just one thing that's stuck out to me in these 3 games, and it makes me so irrationally angry because I'm like, just shoot the puck! But, you know, there's nobody in the stands telling them to shoot, so how are they supposed to know? It's not like they're professional hockey players or anything. Sometimes it really does not seem like they are. Anywho, let's talk about the goals, 7 minutes and 18 seconds into the second period, the tie was broken. There was a goal on the board, and it was William Nylander that broke through first. Again, MVP. Alexander Kerfoot won the faceoff. It went to Willie and he just ripped it on net. A faceoff play. Oh, those are so sweet. And the score was 1-0 in favor of Toronto. For a few minutes until 13 minutes and 56 seconds into the second period when Nick Suzuki just beat Jack Campbell clean to the blocker side from the right faceoff circle. It was just a perfectly placed shot. Jack should have had it, but also Morgan Rielly on the play, what was he doing? He just kind of stopped skating instead of trying to prevent Suzuki from taking the shot. When I saw it in real time, I said, oh, that sucked. That was a really good shot. Yeah, Jack really needed to have that. But then they showed the replay. And in the replay, you get more of a chance to watch what the defender is doing. And when Morgan Rielly just kind of stops doing hockey, you're like, what are you doing? You are a defenseman. You are supposed to defend. There was no defending there. At the end of the play, before the puck went in, it kind of looked like he, maybe wanted to get back to defending, but he made that decision about 15 seconds too late, and that is a long time in hockey because Nick Suzuki was able to get that wicked shot off and it beat Jack Campbell. So the game was tied 1-1, and neither team in this game really looked super determined to take the series lead. So you didn't really know what to expect with a tie game once again. Like, is the Leafs offense just going to take over and break this thing wide open and start scoring goals like crazy like they did in game number 2? Or are they gonna get frustrated because Carey Price keeps robbing them and then just play like crap for the rest of the game? And the Canadiens do have guys that can score. They don't have that top tier talent up front like the Maple Leafs do, but they've got some pretty decent players on their roster. Obviously, they're in the playoffs. But thankfully, we only had to wait about 2.5 minutes to find out, because 16 minutes and 35 seconds into the second period, Morgan Rielly made up for his mistake and he took the 2-1 lead for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And that was a sweet shot that he put on goal. Carey Price was sliding the wrong way. Morgan Rielly realized it. He waited a second, really got the shot that he wanted, and just beat him. It was sick. It was exciting. It was a 2-1 lead. And that is how the period ended. And I've already told you the final score. You know that that is how the game ended. Now, I said neither team really looked too determined to take the lead in this series, but the last two periods were kind of a different tale. The first, it was evenly, how do I want to say this? Evenly bad. But in the second period, the Maple Leafs outshot the Canadiens 20-8. That's a pretty large margin. But in the third period, the Canadiens just wouldn't die. They were making things hard for the Leafs, and the Leafs were making things kind of hard on themselves by playing sloppy throughout the whole game, but they played decently enough in their sludge fest to keep the Canadiens from scoring, especially since they were outshot 15-2. That's an even bigger margin than the Leafs had on them in the second period. And that is how the shots ended up tied 29-29. But the score wasn't tied because we can't have those in hockey, and the Maple Leafs won 2-1. They took the win in game number 3 in Montreal. They play again tomorrow night. Here are my 3 questions. Question 1, will the Maple Leafs come out in the first period with intensity? They have the chance tomorrow night to work off of the momentum from game number 2 and game number 3 and really take a stranglehold on the series, make it a 3-1 series lead. Of course, it was a tough game out there tonight. Montreal hit them 37 times. The Leafs had 28 hits of their own. And in the last 2 periods, it was pretty fast-paced. But they can't use that as an excuse. I'm sure they will be tired, but they have to realize the position they are in, that they can go back to Toronto with the chance to win the series if they win tomorrow night. That is huge, and if they are tired, that will give them some time to rest after the series is over. How much time? I don't know. There's 2 series that are already done, but you gotta think at least one of these has to go a little bit longer. Anyway, with a win tomorrow night, the Leafs will put themselves in a very good position. But we've seen from this Montreal team in these 3 games that they don't just die. They're going to hang around. They're going to get chances on net. Carey Price can go full Carey Price. So they need to come out in that first period with intensity. They need to be throwing everything at the net. They need to stop overpassing the puck, and they need to play their game. Will they do that? We will see. Question 2, will the Leafs get to the front of the net? This was a question for, I believe, game number 2, and now it's back because, again, they are getting too many one-and-done chances. They are letting Carey Price see too many pucks. They need to get traffic to the front of the net. They need to help out their teammates. We have so many times where one guy will break into the zone and he's just all alone. Where is the rest of the team? They need to be quicker on their line changes. They need to support their guys and help them and get to the front of the net so the guy who broke into the zone can either take the shot or have a pass option or something. But all of these one-and-done chances, those are going to be stopped by Price. Sometimes you need to play smarter, not harder. And they really make it hard on themselves when they give Price too many easy shots to save. Sure, they give him a lot of challenging ones too. I've said it in this video. He made a ton of fantastic saves, but if you give him too many easy ones, it allows him to get into the rhythm and get into the game. And that is bad news for them. So going off of the first 2 questions, come out with intensity, get to the front of the net, make Carey Price's life hard, score some goals, run away with the game, and hopefully win the series. Okay, now I'm jumping ahead of myself. We're talking about game number 4. Question 3, will we see William Nylander on the first power play unit? Now, I know this answer is probably no. Teams don't typically switch up their power play units all willy-nilly. Willy. That was completely unintentional. But I've said it before, I had some disagreements, and I will say it again. William Nylander has been the best Toronto Maple Leaf in these first 3 games. If he is on that top power play unit, he will see more ice time and more ice time with the man advantage, and he will see that ice time with Austin Matthews. They can set each other up. It'll be a great time. Let's do it. Let's party. But if I had to take a guess, I say they probably don't do it. But maybe they do. Anyway, those are my 3 questions for tomorrow night's game. A reminder again that they play back-to-back. Do you have any questions for the next game, for this team, for this series? Let me know, leave them in the comments down below. And who do you think has been the MVP for the Leafs and the Canadiens? Let me know that as well. If you would like to hear more from me or from Center Ice, you can head on over to FromCenterIce.com and find links to all of the places where you can find us. I am recording another podcast episode tomorrow. One of my friends is jumping on that episode with me. Jacqueline is on vacation. We'll be talking about the first round of the playoffs so far, so that'll be a good one. It'll be up here on the YouTube channel or wherever you listen to podcasts if you prefer audio only. If you're a social media person, you can follow us on all of the platforms. Those are all linked for you down in the description. All of that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. Take some breaths tonight. We have another game tomorrow. Get some rest, hydrate, drink some water, get some sleep. I will catch you all after tomorrow's game. Bye, guys. Thank you all for watching. Please hit that subscribe button to catch more From Center Ice content. If you could, hit the like button on this video, maybe share it with a friend or two. And while you're here, check out the podcast playlist and catch up on some old episodes. We will catch y'all next time. Bye!